Okay, and we're back. Rafael Davis with Real Men of Real Estate of D&D Capital Solutions. Here with my partner, Stephen Darling, your Darling Lender, and Victor Bell of Bell Capital. So if you're just tuning in, man, we're off to a great start today. It's amazing, man. These guys, I've said it before, and you'll hear me say it again. My two favorite guys to be sitting in the room with. We could sit here and we could talk all day, you know. So luckily we have these commercial breaks. If not, we just keep going and going and going. He said, those guys over there never shut up, you know. So before the break, you know, we were touching in. Victor talked about trapped equity. You know, we kind of touched in on that. So equity just kind of sitting there and it's not gaining you anything. You know, I think we should kind of elaborate a little bit more on that. I mean, I'm sure we can talk about it all day. I don't want to take up too much time with it, but
Victor's perspective on this and for instance, in my own personal life, you know, just recently refinanced, pulled money out of my house, and it was not necessarily for anything but to look at future investments. And my wife didn't understand, and it was hard for me to explain it to her, what I was trying to do, what I was trying to gain. And the way Victor put that, it would, if I could steal his words and then talk to my wife about it, it probably have gone a little smoother. But I'm gonna let him elaborate a little bit on that, because the way he put it, it's very intelligent. It's a great way to look at any equity you have in your house. To me, I always call it dead equity. If you're not using it, it's dead.
It's dead, right.
You should be using it because you can create future wealth. You can use it to accomplish something good.
Right.
Absolutely. And I'm looking for it. But I know, okay, and I'll find it, so, you know, don't quote me. I may be a little off on this, but there's trillions of dollars trapped in homes of equity in our country, or probably across the world. So, like, I know that's the largest sum of capital trapped in it's if I'm not mistaken, it's college debt and equity in homes. Those are the two biggest center points of where capital is sitting. So I mean, if you think about that, like you said, it's like, look, trapped equity. If you have any amount of capital in your home, I'm not saying to run out and tap it and then go on vacation. I'm talking about investing.
Right.
Right. So that's a big thing. You know, and this is my opinion, like, again, but people do it for this, you know. But I'm not looking at it from a homeowner perspective. Like, that even somebody says, okay, I'm going to refinance my house so we can do some renovations. Like, for what? Are you going to sell it? Because at some point you're reinvesting back in your home as an investment now. And what is that going to yield you?
Right.
You know, because, you know, some people, and I have some friends that's done, they've just sold their homes. They're like, you know what, you're right. I sold my home. It's what I made. I dumped that money into another property, and then I kept rolling that money, and we got $1 million, and we wouldn't even know. Right. But kind of like you said, like when you stop and you start looking at it as an investor and what you're trying to build with the money, it's different. Right. And here's the reason why that's dangerous. Trapped equity to me is dangerous, and we know we've seen it. We're going to see it. We're going to see it, like we talked about.
Next few years.
Recessions, right? Because for just values. Let's say, for example, I bought my house, or no, let's say my daddy left my mommy and daddy left me a home, and it's worth $1 million, hypothetically, right? Worth $1 million, you know, and I don't owe nothing. You live next door, you owe $800, and I go, you know what? I think I want to move. I don't want to live here anymore. I'm just going to sell it. First person bring me an offer, I'm going to sell. Someone comes in at $750 because that person's a bottom feeder and they don't want to offer full price. And I go, fine, $750 is more than I've ever had in my whole life. I invested it, great. Now that $750 is the new marker in the neighborhood, and everyone can dispute it if you want to. But as an investor, I'd be like, yeah, I know they're worth $1 million, but their house next door to you, identical square foot, amenities, all that, $750. Right. You've lost money in your home to no fault of your own because you waited against somebody under different circumstances than you are under. Man, that's scary. I don't want my family's legacy and or investment opportunities taken away because somebody doesn't care. I need to be in control of my future, and you can't do that if you're like, I'm going to wait. You know, I'm not saying, you know, get all the way to the gills in debt, because again, good debt, bad debt. We're talking about debt that actually acquires assets that continues to pay you, right? Or you're expanding your company and your business, which also continues to pay you. But that trapped equity can be utilized for that, because that's everyone's like, where do I get the down payment from? Man, sometimes it's in your own, what do you have now you can sell or tap into to generate revenue so you can invest it?
Absolutely.
Right? If you're an investor. Now, we're not talking, you know, there's make money and then there's invest money to make money. People who need to make money, go get a deal, turn and burn it, sell it, whatever. But if you're going to invest money and you're like, hey, where do I start? You know, you can raise money. One way to raise money is through you guys.
Right.
Call, hey, you know what would it be for me to refinance my property up to, let's say, 85%, 80%? Now you start, you're like, okay, here's what it's going to cost you. Here's what you're going to need to do. And then,
and this is what you get, and this is the amount of working capital you have to create something.
Absolutely.
I mean, and you started somewhere, you know,
Absolutely.
and you learned, and you gained this wisdom, and became a best-selling author in regards to investing. I just heard a story from a guy my wife works with. He bought a condo back in, maybe 15, 20 years ago, whatever. He paid it off. It was only worth at the peak of the market $350, a little one-bedroom condo. But that $350, even as the average person working an hourly job, he took that hourly job. He had bought a property. He took some money out of his property, used it as a down payment to buy a condo, rented it out. The rent paid for the mortgage. And lo and behold, 20 years later, he made $400,000, and now he's set up to retire and live an okay life, not worried about just living off Social Security, this or that, because he took that initial step and made at least one investment.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so you start somewhere. The average person, anybody can do it. Just start somewhere. If you own a home, you're in a great position right now. It will run out. Like he said, that trapped equity will go away, or it will get lowered at some point in time in the near future. But not telling you to go right out and do it right. You look at your circumstances. But
there's some assessment.
like you said, the debt, if you use, you're creating debt, but it's diminishing debt if you have an investment that's paying it off or paying for itself or creating a yield, a profit for you. So you just have to look at it from those standpoints.
Yeah. And if you think about it, let's say somebody has $250,000, and you correct me if I'm wrong. I'm gonna do my fast math. $200,000 times, what's it? I'll just use 4% on the rate. $8,000 divided by 12 months. Your payment's roughly about $700, right? Roughly. And I know you guys
interest only.
I use interest only.
Yeah.
So okay, but let's just say that. Fine, $1,200.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Dude, it costs you $1,200. Like you tell me right now where you can get that to happen. Now you take that $200,000 and you put it down on 20% down on another property.
Yeah.
Right. Now that property, let's say I don't know. Let's say you can rent it out for like $2,400.
At least.
Right.
Southern California, $3,500.
Right. And that's what I said. I'd like to do affordable things. Like, could you expect to pay $2,400? Yeah, absolutely. Could people expect to pay $2,700? Yeah, absolutely. Right. But the whole part about that was like, I went interest only. Man, that was like $600.
Right.
We doubled it for PITI, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So now we're at
that's from the conventional side, because on the private side, it is interest only.
Yep.
There you go. Right. And you
do.
say, hey, look, can you give me 3 years on this? Yeah, absolutely. We can give you 3 years. How are you going to pay us back? I'm going to sell it. I'm going to refinance it and put long-term debt on there.
Right.
Boom. So like it's and I apologize, I'm talking quickly because I geek out on this stuff, but the reality of it is like really when I'm talking to somebody, especially like even on big deals, small deals, where people are like fighting for pennies. Like first, buy low, sell high is dead. So I'm just going to say that. You can mark it down, you can hate me for it, but it's buy high, sell higher. So because if you think you're going to show up right now in today's world or the next,
right,
it ain't going to happen. Yeah. So, and from that capacity, though, it's like, all right, lost my train of thought. But the reality of it is if that's the thought, that's what it was. Like people were talking about the buy low, sell high, moving into the buy high, sell higher. That's where we are today.
Yes.
Right.
Because like the prices that everybody's waiting for, like this recession thing, think about if properties on the average are residential $1 million on the average, right?
Yeah.
Right.
If you think they're going to drop back down to 3 and 4, it's not going to happen.
No.
Like for one, the country won't let this happen. The government won't let it happen. Like
inflation won't let it happen.
You won't. Yeah, it just
It'll
won't
never
happen.
decrease enough.
Things will level and maybe flatten, just right where they are. But they're going to continue on. So at some point, and we'll move into now the investor side of me. You ain't going to get a deal like that. I won't even take your call.
Right.
You call me. You go, hey, would you? What's that? What's the least amount you can take? What? You got the wrong number. Right. So when you approach anything like that from the front, like think about it. If I call you, go, hey, what's the least rate you can give me? You'd be like, did you call the right number? like is this did you call D&D Capital or my darling lending?
Right.
So that said, like between looking at property and saying, okay, could we get this amount of money? What is that money really costing me? What can I actually do with that money? And to be able to use that money, because again, we're talking about buying wealth building assets and or real estate. You're not buying a shirt that you're going to ball up and throw in the wash and laundry. You're buying something that's going to be with you 10, 20, 30 years. Like you said,
Possibly generational.
yeah, short-term loans, can we refinance it? But that doesn't mean you're going to get rid of it.
Right.
Right? So it's important for people to know, especially when dealing with guys like you that understand the financing side, that investors and people who are looking at investments are coming on board because we want to do business with you guys long term.
Right.
Right? That we are
Well,
looking
and
for
that's
ways
the
to make
ultimate
it
goal
work.
for both of us.
Yeah.
You know, because that's what we want as well. We want to work with guys that understand that, and then are looking to accomplish as many investments as possible per year to continue to grow that wealth and to build a portfolio. And, you know, or we're here for that, for the family man as well, that wants to buy the one investment to create the retirement, or two properties or three or whatever it is to give each one of their kids, whatever the case may be.
Yeah. There's
There's the possibility for it all, but there is no possibility if you don't use your equity.
Right.
Gotcha,
Right.
guys. You know, and it's like, I think I heard you say this before, Vic. Hey, just start. You know,
Absolutely.
don't put it off. Just start, and that's how it happens. So, with that, guys, we're going to take another quick break, and we'll be back with the Real Men of Real Estate here, Rafael Davis with Stephen Darling and Victor Bell. See you after the break.